Welcome to this 37th annual, can't believe it. You might remember when we did our 25th anniversary as a congregation. I don't know if there was anybody here that was there that day. Our 37th annual celebration lunch and annual meeting. Last year when I addressed you, we were in St. Clair's. My theme was under construction, because we were reflecting on the years of the planning and the dreaming, the organizing, the working, the fundraising, the persevering to build. Years and years ago, the founders of this church had a dream. They were dreaming that we would not simply be a nice, kind of sentimental resort chapel ministry that was there when you were there to celebrate just those moments of life like a nice Christmas or an Easter. They dreamed of a real congregation, a Christian congregation, with a God-given mission, a purpose for existing and being here. They dreamed of a Christian congregation with strong clergy and lay leadership, working in partnership and harmony. They dreamed about this congregation having a firm base of personality. No problem there, I might add. A firm and stable financial base. They dreamed of a congregation whose ministries would share God's love and grace and forgiveness in a way that transformed, or to use the old English word, transfigured, people's lives. To see the image of God and the nature of Christ reflected in people's lives in this valley in an ever deeper way. They dreamed of a congregation who welcomed and invested in our youngest members, our interfaith partners, our mission partners, in a caring and loving environment, a welcoming church who would reach out in tangible ways to our members, our neighbors, and our friends. When I came to this church, I had a dream too. I dreamed that God could build Transfiguration to be something that no one could ever see. A leadership congregation in our interfaith community. We were the little brother and sister for years and years in the interfaith community. When I came here, no one in the Diocese of Colorado even knew there was a church in Vail. And now that we would be a leadership congregation, not only in the interfaith community, but in our own community in the Valley and in the Episcopal Church in the Diocese of Colorado. That was not a dream about size or structure or finance. That was a dream about leading by how we serve, how we support, how we encourage other people. It was about a dream of a church that I'd had since I was a child. The kind of church that is dependable and reliable. The kind of church that feels safe and sane when you walk in the door. The kind of church where there is a smile on someone's face rather than a look that says, "Now who are you and why are you here?" The kind of church that felt the cornerstone of Christ underneath our feet in crazy and chaotic times. This was the dream that the founders of our congregation had, and which I too had. And so, we were under construction, I said last year. Would those dreams ever come true? Boy, I'm here to tell you today that dreams do come true. Somehow, miraculously, while Transfiguration is still under daily construction, look at the things that we were told would never happen. Every time I've heard someone talk about the color of the paint on this wall, or is the roof too high? Is it too noisy in here? Should we have doors right over here? The wind is blowing the candles. Every time I hear, who opens the door in the morning? Who's paying for that? Who cleans the toilet? No, there was too much tissue in the ladies' bathroom. Every time I hear one of those questions, I thank God because, friends, we have a building to talk about. Look up and down and around you at a facility that we were repeatedly told would never be built. There was no use for it. No one would ever pay for this. Our church could never fill it. Miracles do happen. Dreams come true. You're sitting in this building now. Both floors about to be completed. Isn't that astounding? What about this congregation in this building? What about the fact that God has called some very talented people to serve you? People that we were told as recently as 6 months ago, it's just no way we could ever have them here. Pastor Mark Hugenvik, who I'm happy to announce this morning was just given his license to officiate by the Diocese of Colorado. That's a fancy church word for saying he's real. He passed his background check. I got an email that says, well, we know he's not a criminal. Now we have to find out about his finances. I said, wow, that's great, Mark. You're not a criminal. Pastor Mark Hugenbeck, a Lutheran pastor. He's with the Lutheran Church this morning because Pastor Scott Beatty, the seated pastor, had a death in his family. He had to be away, and we said that Mark could go serve them this morning. But we've called a half-time assistant rector. It's so nice to tell you his real title. The assistant rector of Transfiguration. We've been without for 2.5, almost 3 years. And due to the generosity of some of you here, we were able to call and seat one of the most exciting clerics I have ever spent time with. If you spend time with Mark, have you ever seen him sit down? The man gets physically excited talking about church. Now, I've told him in that excitement, no meetings, no fundraising, no committee reports. He's like, praise Jesus, let's go. To have someone of Mark's caliber and success as a senior pastor in the Lutheran Church is a true blessing to us. He's so excited to serve you. To have someone of the caliber of our new deacon, the Reverend Steve Baer, who worked for years to wear the stole, the deacon's stole across his chest that you see. Can I tell you that during our Christmas Eve pageant here, the pageant, the experience of being here was so exciting to me, having Mark and Steve on both sides, that I did something that I was chastised about later. I forgot to take up the offering at the Christmas Eve pageant. I had an out-of-body experience listening to Mark lead the Eucharistic prayer. Because I've done it almost every Sunday for 16.5 years. It's like a physical weight being lifted off of my shoulders to have these two fine men join us to serve you as clergy, ordained to put a collar on to show you that we are your servants and we're here to serve. I got a call from Scott Green, our new youth pastor, who is coming on board in a beautiful way right now. They're almost to Illinois. Scott's wife, Laura, had her father die this morning at 7 o'clock. They were on the road yesterday afternoon. Scott was to be here at Laura today with us. They send their love, and I sent it right back to them and told them that we would pray for them and her father, whose name I don't know, as they celebrate his life. He was well beloved, a grandfather and great-grandfather. But I have to tell you that having Scott with us as a youth pastor is also an exciting vision after Drew